in detail, really going through it to find that we're in a matrix of lies. And at one point, we may have thought we weren't, but now it's becoming increasingly obvious that we live in a world constructed of lies, a matrix of lies. And where did this come from, and how do we get out of it? Well, the reason, the problem is within our minds, within our method of thinking. And this is long-standing. It's almost as though the matrix of lies, the conspiracies, have been designed around imperfections, weaknesses of the human mind. And I'm pretty sure that this is actually the case. And another thing that one may notice in this is that lots of people are bamboozled, heavily bamboozled. It seems that the more educated, powerful, and rich a man is, the more easily is he bamboozled. And that would seem to be due to ego, to rewards, to bribes almost, to public opinion, to going along with the flow. And if you drop down from being rich and powerful, it's easier to establish that something weird is going on. Now, how long has this been in place? It's been in place as long as we can remember. Well, I shouldn't say that, since our memories, individual memories, aren't that long, but it goes right back to the beginning of recorded history. And so we're talking about a time frame on the order of 6,000 years. And on studying this, one finds that the Hebrews are very important. By tracking their history, you can actually see what has been going on. And of course, this is dangerous territory. Dangerous to talk about this. All kinds of things go bad for you if you mention the Hebrew and their power and their money and Israel and the Holocaust and all of that. So it's a dangerous area to talk about. Excuse me, and you will find yourself unpopular and maybe even targeted by legal methods or loss of your job or other financial things if you go in this direction. But it also happens that this is not limited to Israel and the Hebrews. And over in Japan, it turns out that talking about certain things, about certain cults, other countries, will get you fired too. So it's a matter of free speech. It's a matter of knowing what's going on. So this story really follows the history of the Jewish people. And what I'm trying to do with this scenario that I'm going to tell you about is to help the Jewish people. And they're not going to believe that right off, but it will become very clear to some what I'm talking about. I learned about much of what I know by working with Eustace Mullins. He was a great writer. He wrote The Secrets of the Federal Reserve. He was a protege of Ezra Pound, who was incarcerated at St. Elizabeth's Hospital, you know, the psychiatric incarceration, which I think is increasing now. So Eustace was brilliant and knew quite a lot. He wrote a book, and the book was Mullins' New History of the Jews. And in this book, he wrote that Babylon, Persia, Greece, Egypt, and Rome were all taken down by something with the Jews, something in Judaism. That they collapsed by subversion. They weren't militarily overcome. Though, of course, somebody came in after the door was knocked down and to pick up the pieces. And he stated, he wrote, that the Romans knew what had happened. And in fact, Julius Caesar had been assassinated because he could not or would not control the Jews. And it was recognized that something there was going on. So after the Western Roman Empire collapsed, they began the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, and this empire lasted more than 1,000 years. And it did not collapse. It was finally overcome militarily by the combined forces of of Turkey and Venice. And what I was told is that in the Eastern Roman Empire, the Hebrews were kept out of education and government. And the other thing is the control of money is that apparently Byzantium used gold. Something I want to know more about. So Byzantium lasted 1,000 years, and it's kind of a void. We know an awful lot about the Western Roman Empire, and there are all kinds of movies and serials and things that we know about, but we know very little about Byzantium. So how is this? What is going on here? This bit of information that Eustace imparted to me really kind of directed the whole operation. It's clear that right now in the modern era that Israel is deadly. All kinds of things are going on that can be attributed to Israel. Of course, you have the Palestinian situation and the AIPAC and the ADL everywhere in the United States. In fact, the United States is, I guess, a dog being wagged by the Israeli tail. We know that. So by looking at what we know in the present and extrapolating back, we can see that these empires, Byzantium, or rather Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, Egypt, could have succumbed to much the same sort of thing that we see now. And then the question that comes up is, well, how could the Hebrew be so incredibly proficient and knowledgeable about obliterating a civilization, one of these ancient empires? I mean, how did they just start out that way? And then the question, of course, is why? Why would they do this? And of course, the answer that they are all given is, that it's anti-Semitism. You even think this way, that they're defending themselves against anti-Semitism, whatever. But then it doesn't seem rational that that the Hebrew, who are so very studious and smart, would just make a career out of destroying civilizations. But that's what the record tells us. So I was trying to find out what was going on with the world. I began this in 1996. And that led to actually bringing Eustace Mullins out to California in the year 2007. And and talking to him and learning more about it. It became obvious that something very strange was going on, and the Hebrew were part of it. Now, nothing made any sense to me out of that until I encountered a book titled Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings by Charles Hapgood. This book was published in 1966. So that was the first time a lot of us could see that there was something going on in the Ice Age that we hadn't been told about. The entire Earth was mapped during the Ice Age when the sea level was 400 feet lower. Graham Hancock has described much of this. The coast of Antarctica, Queen Maudland coast, was entirely free of ice, and the ice cap there now is a mile deep. And the Piraeus map, that one of the maps that Hapgood was working with, was reviewed by the United States Air Force in New Hampshire, and they concurred. You know, this was a map that showed Antarctica, and we couldn't figure out how this happened because, you know, of the fact that the ice was now a mile deep. So at this point, one could see that somebody had trained the Hebrews. Somebody had educated them and turned them into a force that was essentially irresistible. And that it didn't start 6,000 years ago. It could easily have started well before that, during the Ice Age. And that this information, this technique, this incredible understanding has a very long history, longer than 6,000 years. Well, Charles Hapgood was a teacher at a teacher's college in New Hampshire, and had his students work with him on studying the maps to produce this book, the maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. I have a friend who knew something about Hapgood, and note that he was described as a weirdo, and he has written that, you know, that the formal education might not teach you as much as just getting down and doing it. Anyway, it became clear that there was a pathway back into time where the Hebrews may have learned about taking down civilizations. And then there are other things you wonder about. Where did they come from? Where did the secret societies come from? Where did the occult business come from? Where did money and all of that stuff come from? It's all supposed to, so much is supposed to have come from Babylon, I guess, somewhere. But it almost looks like Babylon is described as a window to the past, used as a window. Everything came from it. Almost too much came from it. So it was clear then that we do have a long history. And then another bit of physical evidence emerged from this, which is very important, and that is circumcision. As we know, the Hebrews are circumcised, and this is an important ritual. But you know, the foreskin is considered, well, you know, a throwaway. I think the word schmuck comes from is a term for foreskin as something that's useless. But it turns out those who have been studying the foreskin find that it's an important structure, that it has nerve endings in it, of course, that there's chemical secretions involved, sensation involved, and that it is significant in the bonding of a man and a woman. And if this bonding does not take place, if the sort of the neurological image of the woman as something the man wants to bond to, if that image is missing in the nervous system, there are repercussions and societal repercussions. So it seems like circumcision isn't just whacking off the foreskin. It has it's a very significant thing to do, and one would think, or the way I looked at it, was almost showing that the Jews had been captured and had gotten this this tradition going. So that's something that goes back, and you would say, well, if this is done on the basis of having an effect, societal effect, how long was the period of observation to establish that? How many generations did somebody have to observe to conclude that it was a way of controlling society, or at least a partial way of controlling society? And I think the answer to that is a long time. I don't see how you can get it short. Get a short period of time for that observation. So the whole thing then stretches back beyond 6,000 years, almost to a point, of course, that we cannot readily define. The next bit of information that came along and that really kind of put it all together was in the form of a book by professors Lynch and Granger. And that book is Big Brain, published in 2008. I think a very important book. And it's sort of based on the story of Boskop Man. And the Boskop Man is essentially a skull that was discovered in Boskop, South Africa in about 1913. A couple of workers, story goes, they found the skull. It looked unusual to them. They were wondering what it was, and they took it to a museum where it was recognized as being a significant find. And eventually the world learned of this and began looking at it. It apparently excited British paleontology very much. And they were very interested in learning more about the Boskop skull. But then something happened which kind of took their mind off of this finding in South Africa, and that was the Piltdown Man, and which was close to England, which was in England and close, I guess, to the facility there, close to Charles Darwin's home. But Piltdown Man was a hoax. So a hoax took this rather interesting find off the map of British paleontologists. But a renowned paleontologist by the name of R. Broom went to South Africa and studied the Boskop skull and made certain observations. The skull had a very large jaw with large incisors and canines, a powerful jaw. The brain cavity was quite large compared to normal humans, was about 30% larger. And Broom was of the opinion that this finding deserved to be called another species. And he defined or named this finding Homo capensis. And for those of you who have probably listened to Karen Hudes, the whistleblower on the World Bank, you've heard that name. So immediately became obvious that there was another candidate for mapping the Earth other than plain old human beings, Homo sapiens. And that candidate was somebody, or maybe something would be the name, who was not truly human, but of a different species. And what that means is the species usually means that reproduction or mating between a different species does not produce a fertile offspring. That it's sort of a mule finding. That is to say, the union of a donkey and a horse produces a sterile mule. And so we have these two. We have this Homo capensis there. Now, it's interesting in that a paleontologist by the name of Fitzmyer did further investigations in that area, and I think maybe about 100 miles north, and found an area which was, appeared to be a communal living area, and there were human skeletons there, which were described as having been casually interred. I guess they were just thrown into the ground. But they found in the same area a rather elaborate tomb with a single occupant positioned so that he was facing the rising sun. And this single occupant, who had a normal appearing skeleton, had a very large head. So one could take this information as indicating that this large brain, this large-headed species, was dominant over Homo sapiens, was dominant over humans at that time. I'd like to show you another book, which is very important. This is by Brian Foster and David Hatchett Childress. It's The Enigma of Cranial Deformation, and it has many photographs of these large skulls. And Foster's done excellent work, and he's traveled around. I think he runs Hidden Inca tours in South America. And he has actually managed to get some DNA studies done, which show that these skulls are not, or at least the skull that was studied was not human. He's managed to stay out of the way of establishment paleontology and archaeology. That's the secret to his success. Because the other part of the story, which I hadn't really mentioned and which is ongoing, is that all of this is ignored by establishment institutions. You would think that when you found a skull with a giant cone head, that when you told the establishment institutions about this, they would jump right on it. get their kit and go and study it completely. But that does not happen. And this is highly significant. This is, in many ways, I think, the history of what's happening to us, the history of our decline right here, in that the universities seem to be filled with bright lights, with high IQs that are isolated in little dark boxes and don't really get their talent utilized or communicated as it should be, because the world is not made of little dark boxes. At any rate, there we have Brian Foster's work, and he has found skulls that are large cone heads. These are even larger than the Homo capensis. They're different in that they have large orbits, about 20% larger than human. They have one parietal plate instead of two like we do. A very large, heavy cone head, and occipital foramen high in the occipital region. They also have very big incisors and canine teeth, and few or any, if any, molars, which would seem to indicate that they are meat eaters primarily. So that's another important finding, these large skulls, which the professionals ignore. And I personally have sent letters out and found that to some institutions and experts, and found out that they won't answer. They will not respond to this information. And I don't know if they've ever seen it before or not. So what we're seeing here, this microcosm of ignoring the skulls, is, I think, basically the way the world works. Ignore the information. Don't be too curious. Keep your head low. And the result of that is a rather serious decline in the structure of society all over the place, and a total confusion in our minds about what is going on and what is possible. Though it may not sound like it, I may not give the impression, I think that we're on the verge of a very exciting advance of Homo sapiens. That it, in the sense that we're excuse me, free at last, to use that phrase, and that maybe we can take charge of our lives and take charge of our brains. And we have to do that first, and really turn everything into beauty, really, creative beauty. The potential is there, but we are so repressed by a number of forces. And remember, the smarter and richer someone is, the easier he is bamboozled. That would seem to be the rule here. Now, to get back to helping the Jews, which then I may not believe that's what I'm doing, but I'm telling the truth here, and that is what we need. That's what's going to help us go forward and get out of this mess. If on a scientific way, if you have an hypothesis, or you might want to upgrade it to a theory, you can make predictions on that, on basis of that. And of course, this is done in scientific circles all of the time. What the prediction I could make on the basis of the Hebrew nation being a covert force trained by forces, by entities unknown to damage civilization, to disrupt civilization. That this theory implies that at some point in the past, one could establish a contact with the originators of the training, and to produce this degree of brilliance at subversion. I'm trying to make it soft, but this is really what it comes down to. So going back in time, what do we find? We should find that the Jewish nation at some point was in contact with something that could have molded them in a way which is most unusual. And the Jewish scholars have done just that, and have gone through Jewish history and come up with some very surprising findings. Reaching for a book here. This book is by two rabbis. And reading the front cover, discover that the chosen people were Egyptians. The Hebrews were the conquering rulers, not slaves. Moses was the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses I, and other earth-shattering facts. Some 60 years ago, Sigmund Freud speculated that Moses was not a Hebrew, but an Egyptian. After 20 years of research, Massage and Roger Sabin, excuse me for that, discovered not only that Moses was not a Hebrew, but that neither was the patriarch Abraham. Not only were they Egyptians, they were also pharaohs. So that is sort of a shocker. It certainly disrupts the Jewish history as is put forward by the Old Testament and other whatever you can think of. But this is just, it turns out, this is just the beginning of the story. What were the pharaohs? What were these particular pharaohs? What was Akhenaten in general, or Akhenaten specifically? Now, it turns out that on reviewing all kinds of information that we have about Akhenaten, he was not human. He was a big brain hominid, and he had daughters that were big brain hominids. It looked like Nefertiti, his wife, was too. Moreover, Akhenaten was thought of very poorly by the Egyptians, because he seemed to be determined to destroy Egyptian civilization. Okay, another book, really beautiful book, The Royal Women of Amarna. And it shows the royal women, and it shows Akhenaten's daughter. We have a picture here of one of them, a model sculpture. On the opposite side, there's a painting of two daughters. You can see the heads are quite unusual. there are some sculptures of a daughter. See the extraordinary posterior protuberance, axial protuberance of the head. I don't know if they could hear me, but the heads protrude occipitally. Now, in this day and age, heads like this have been observed in Egypt. And Izumi Takahashi, who we will be talking to later, has observed this and actually drew up a little picture. And the heads are not normal. These individuals are walking around, but they have these really big heads. There is a question as well, could those not be Akhenaten's daughters? Were they fooling us? Were they somebody else's daughter? But it seems like the family, the situation there is, it's very clear that the beings had very large heads consistent with either Homo capensis or the monoparietal plate large cone heads. In other words, they were not human. And let's say, what does it mean that they were not human, that they're not Homo sapiens? They had different nervous systems. Lynch and Granger, in their book Big Brain, did a calculation on the possible IQ of Homo capensis. And this was based on the size of the increase in area of the association areas for a brain 30% larger. And they came up with an average IQ of 149, with 10 to 15% of the population reaching 180 or more. And that's a lot. Now, I think evidence at this point seems to indicate that this was really primarily mathematical computation and not artistic ability or other functions, but primarily mathematical. This is just from looking at the whole situation, the pyramids, the Adams calendar in Southern Africa and South Africa. But that's a lot of brain power, and so I think it's quite likely that this brain power is still out there and being used to control us. That's the logical conclusion, because so many things are wrong. Basically, everything is wrong. We're in a world of absolute chaos in respect to our minds. We've heard of the dumbing down, and it's horrendous. If you follow the schoolwork, if you follow the news, what they call the news, about the only thing you can really count on are sports scores. And we have so many multi-lies coming at us. And one disturbing thing is that our rulers don't seem to care. They seem happy to lie to us, to fool us, bamboozle us in every way that they can. And why is that? They are, in some cases, psychopathic personalities for sure. And then as a result of being in a secret society or in religious orders, one can be trained to be a psychopath. which is to say not have empathy and to not tell the truth, to have some abstract situation that you worship, that controls you. And so this is the hazard of secret society. Now, in respect to the Hebrews, it's obvious that there is no real ethical basis to their religion. It's been discredited, and they have been bamboozled, and their feelings of being special have been imposed on them by something that created them as a subversive force. I don't see how you can conclude other than that. And they need to change right now. And it's going to be very painful for people who have been trained from the beginning, think that they're entirely special, that they're God's chosen children, that they can do no wrong, and that everybody's out to get them. And they are going to have to look at how this entire system has been put together and functioned over the years. Because it's clear at this point that we're looking at a system of bamboozlement and abuse that has been directed at the Jews, and also probably to the secret societies that work with the elite in the Hebrew in Judaism. It's very clear that the ordinary Jewish person is unaware of what's been going on. And this was apparently even written about in the introduction to the protocols, that the snake would traverse the world, go around the world, eating power wherever it went. And that the body of the snake, Jewish people would not know what was going on. So this is difficult, very difficult, but I have confidence that people will get through it.
What do it do? Now, let me speak a little bit. Normally, I'll just turn the video off and just went away and let you say, that goddamn pit boss, man, he be coming with them titles and them pictures, and then he drops this audio on there. See, I've kind of considered myself detached now. I could have presented all this information this white boy just talked about. I've been presenting this information. But it takes too much energy to go compile it. So to keep the information flowing, I'm going to let these white boys speak. Particular ones that you never heard of. I don't think you've ever heard of them. Y'all get mad when I say you ain't heard of some shit. But I ain't never heard none of the channels speak on them. Recently, somebody sends me G Consciousness and Guerrilla Hebrew debate on Solar Mind's dumbass channel. When I look at this shit, first of all, Solar Mind is a Satanist. He don't believe in no Bible. He already stated this. I'm not saying something he ain't already stated. So the question is, It's the same characters that's been on YouTube doing the YouTube. It'd be different if he started a debate league and we see a host of new people that showing us they skills of how they're able to connect dots. And then the topic is like, oh, now you niggas gotta pick a topic where you can kind of have some kind of ability to debate. Now here's the ridiculousness of the shit, because it's still part of the unconsciousness. One, you're not getting any views in comparison to channels on YouTube where motherfuckers is just cooking food and getting more views than you niggas. Because there's so much ignorance attached to it that you're really depriving people of an opportunity to learn. Because you've got them in that tailspin of they want to be entertained. They want to see you niggas curse each other out. They hope somehow they could catch a video where one of you niggas and killed each other. That would be just the ultimate shit. Or you went to jail, or some nigga ran up on you and started beating you up live on camera. Just some exciting shit. And then when the tragedy happened and the nigga really jumped that line and put some work in on one of these niggas, then y'all, that was fucked up. Because y'all don't have a moral setting where there's a certain respect line that can't be drawn or a nigga get his neck broke. Y'all don't have that because you part of this satanic, Zionist, socialistic, communistic ideology. You niggas can't stand anything that would benefit you. You really anti-beneficial to yourself. The weirdest shit ever. What up, Mia? 92001. So I know the type of shit I'm playing is not where the conscious community is when it comes to information. They all want to be viral on YouTube, so they want to display that they really understand some shit. So here's how the debate is set up. G Conscious ran over to the white folks to be an apologist because he thought that that was going to get him somewhere a few years ago. He don't like the idea that the Bible has been fulfilled because that would kill what he coming with. So he gonna stay away from that topic because he gonna die of ignorance if he try to deal with that. But here's the bigger laughter of it all. The Gorilla Hebrew is a Sonetta, the goat of Mendez product. I seen him on YouTube before Sonetta noticed him. He was walking through the park in a blue t-shirt, handing out leaflets, wanting to be a Hebrew Israelite. Before Sonetta knew who he was garbage. Pushing the same information, but he had no connection to a black conscious community. But he's an offspring of a satanic Hebrew Israelite doctrine from the late 60s out of the big rotten fucking apple, where socialism, Marxism, and fake black power was created. Just an extension. So he more comfortable sitting around with the goat of Mendez than going around people who would love the Bible in the way that he do. Because see, here's the biggest ridiculous shit of it all. If you look at him closely, this motherfucker is a white boy. If you look at him from a distance, he got some black in him. But if you look at him closely, this motherfucker's white. But he's already told us that his mama was white. Now, this is part of like an issue in the black culture under the current circumstance. What do we do about these mixed kids who grow up getting treated bad by both groups? By the whites because he look black, by the blacks because he ain't black enough. Now you want to like associate. So he pick up a Bible and take on a Jewish Zionist creation of a 12 tribe of Hebrew Israelite for the blacks. Bullshit. Now, I don't know black people with black parents who allow, even in the culture of black people, who allow a kid or accept a kid who talk bad about his mama in public. If you're in the grocery store, you see a kid going in on his mama. I don't give a fuck if they white, Mexican, Asian, black. Black people just, that ain't how we get down. Our mama's too important to us. Sometimes the only shit we got that we just really just don't, we ain't got that low yet. But we understand that white people's kids talk bad to them. Fuck you, mama, you bitch, and run off. We be like, I would slap the snot out the back of his head. But you can't do nothing because they'll take your black ass to jail. So the Hebrew, guerrilla Hebrew comes into the motherfucking conscious community bad talking his mama. She's the devil. Esau, the devil. All that bullshit. And since he fucking with some satanic niggas, some reject gangbangers who just didn't really want to go to jail and sell dope no more, they needed a new way out. So they wasn't going down there to be holy. The Bible say be holy. None of you niggas is holy. You niggas is satanic, running around with a 6-point hexagon star that represents your Satanism. All you niggas rep that 6-point star. Like you from Chicago, but you scared the gangbang though. You niggas run from me like I'm kryptonite when I come up, when I blow through, because you know two things. You can't fuck with him on the mic. He gonna blow you out, and you don't even threaten the nigga because he crazy too. Even though I don't never make any threats. I don't take none either though. So I don't really even go live no more, really kick my info because it's a fucking waste of time talking to the dead. I'm not called for that. I'm not called for that. But what I did do was fully vet you niggas to the satanic order. Match you niggas. Now all I'm gonna play is demonology and Zionism for a minute. I'm gonna go cover everybody. This particular guy is Dr. Ed Spencer. You ain't never heard of this dude. He got 1,000 more videos for you to go check out. How do I find these people? It's all connected to the paradigm. Now, every person I'm playing got a well-written book or 2 or 3. But here are these dumbass niggas with this conscious community shit coming with propaganda shit. Nothing in reality. Nothing in reality. And y'all eat it up. Because it must be y'all lives are empty. Gotta be. That you can sit there and listen to this shit. You can't believe the shit is true. I doubt that. It's entertainment. You might find a point. Oh, he got you right there. Oh, he made a point. You can't believe these niggas is living it. They don't never live it. All they do is debate. Endless debate. Some nibber came on my shit like pit balls. You gonna just join the debate league for fucking what? Who the fuck are these niggas other than they got a fucking laptop with a goddamn YouTube channel? These niggas is nobody. I showed up with William Bell. Don't none of you niggas want to see William Bell. Period. That's part of my team. And y'all can't go get your big homie in the consciousness to fuck with him. None of you. Give it up. You don't want to see William Bell with the Bible. You might not like the Bible. You might not agree because you don't fucking understand. We understand. How can you agree with me when you can't comprehend what I'm saying? So I just quit doing Bible. Now I'm just going to give you Zionism because you can't argue with it. It's obvious that the Zionists control and created the Federal Reserve. That's fact. The Zionists control rap music, jazz music, blues music. You ain't never seen the movie Cadillac Records in the 50s? The law was that the blacks couldn't have a radio station. So a Jew came along and created Cadillac Record, gave a nigga a Cadillac, and sold all the black music. Put white people on the cover and black people on the cut. Then in the 60s, they changed the law and they came out with Motown. And Jews owned all the fucking radio stations. So we gave you the record label, but nigga, we own all the radio stations. So you got to pay us anyway to play the shit. Then in the 70s, they start giving away pop deals to the niggas. So the niggas sold out. Motown died. Then in the 80s, rap come along and all the fucking radio stations are owned by the Jews. Only way to get a rap deal is signed to their ass. So the rappers came in the door with the comedic rap game, Kool Moe Dee, this nigga, that nigga, all these New York rotten apple faggot ass Bambaataa niggas. And we thought that shit was hot. We running around with the leather patch. Fight the power. What power, nigga? The one you signed to, bitch? Is that the power we need to be fighting? The one that's cutting that check, nigga? And they fucking bamboozled you for the check. All these New York rap niggas that started rap, all them bitch ass niggas is NAACP, integrationist, Black Panther minded, socialist, inherited dumbass niggas. And they fell off. And the Zionists is controlling it from the rip. The Zionists gave the Black Panthers money to start their programs, and niggas be running around. The Black Panthers started the food program. No, they didn't, you dumbass nigga. They didn't have a fucking dime. The Jews started it and used them niggas to do it. You dumbass niggas. You don't get it. Sinetta running around with a fucking Russian fist colored red, black, and green on his fucking hat, thinking he black power because Khalid Muhammad taught him that. Dumbass nigga. Dumbass niggas, we ain't had a fucking leader that had his fucking mind right since Marcus Garvey, nigga. You can't name one. I don't give a fuck. After him, you can't name one. All them niggas Zionists created, but that's how bad the Zionists are. That they just got rid of all that black nationalism. This fuck boy shit these niggas come with talking about is nationalism. That's not nationalism. That's socialism masquerading as nationalism. These niggas are still socialists. Obama was a socialist. You niggas love Obama. He didn't do no wrong until after it was all over. Oh, fucking Obama. He didn't do shit for us. What the fuck he gonna do for you? Give you a new welfare program, nigga? All you college niggas, you being taught by socialist professors. As True Light explained, he arguing with them all day. I guess True Light in college dropping that pit boss on him, and they trying to figure out where in the fuck is he getting all this information so quickly. He wasn't supposed to learn this shit till he was 50. But my info passed, just shot past all you niggas. Because you don't want to change your fucking condition. All you trying to do is stop from being poor. That's it. You don't give a damn about what's going on in the world. You don't give a shit. I sit and listen to niggas mad at Trump all day. They falling for the propaganda, the double speak. Trump call you niggas shithole countries, and you, oh, Trump calling us we from shithole countries, fucking race, and you still stuck on that propaganda. They just banned Alex Jones from YouTube, Facebook, and the rest of that. He ain't never said the backwards shit we say. He ain't never went off the way Sinetta do, the way I do, the way the rest of these dumbass niggas in the conscious community do. But they banned his motherfucking ass. And he was protecting the word Zionism. He wouldn't say it. I used to go on his videos, nigga, I see you talking about the Jews. Just say Zionism one time. Fuck all this globalist shit. Who the fuck is a globalist? Is a double speak word. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't identify nobody. Who's a globalist? You can't point them out. If they walk by you with a t-shirt on and say, I'm a globalist, you could be like, how I know? But if a mother got on a Zionist, oh, I can find out if you're a Zionist. You first got to be one of these Ashkenazi Jews. Then you probably could be a Zionist. But this shit I'm kicking is way the fuck past these niggas. Then I go over to Lex Vortex and them channel. When I show up, you know, niggas is already fumbling in the chair because I'm going to blast your bitch. I'm going to call you bitch ass. I'm going to try to provoke you. Hope you try me, nigga. Hope you try me. Be like, talk about your mama, anything. I don't give a damn. I just want to see if you for real or if you part of this shit. So I just push your buttons. And these niggas is I'm steadily asking, who the fuck is the enemy? Christianity, them Christians. Yeah. You fucking faggot, nigga. You part of the fucking problem. Because they done built you Kemetic, Ephi, Yoruba, satanic niggas for misdirection. The Jew don't fucking like Christianity. You niggas don't like Christianity. Bingo. The Hebrew Israelites don't like Christianity. Zionism don't like Christianity. Bingo. The atheists hate Christ. The Jews hate Christ. Bingo. The RBG Comedics can't stand the cross and what it represents. The Jews can't fucking stand the cross and what it represents. Bingo. See, I can't separate you niggas' ideology from these Zionists. If I could, I could probably try to figure out what's really going on. So then I said, you know, let me reinforce my position. Let me explain to these niggas how some Christians came to black people in America as slaves and said, you shouldn't be a slave according to the Bible. We'll help you. Created the Underground Railroad and died trying to make this shit prosperous. But you niggas came with a good one. What about the first ship, Jesus? Bitch, Zionists own that. Zionists name that. No, it's from England. Bitch, they're everywhere. Then I went and played Hitler. Now, didn't you grow up feeling like Hitler was a monster? Zionists told you he was a monster. You can't go back and find nothing Hitler did to black people. But you hate Hitler more than you hate the Jew. Because the Zionists taught your bitch ass. Zionists was behind the lawyers that fought for the Brown versus Board of Education. Zionists paid for that. Zionists were behind all of the NAACP leadership. Zionists give them all the money. Zionists owned the Lakers. It was a Zionist who was banging on Magic Johnson, and he lost the team because the stripper hole came out with the audio tape where he was going in on Magic. Found out that he was about to get the NAACP award, the Spingard medals list. Joel Spingard was a fucking Jew, a Zionist Jew. Socialism for blacks, nationalism for Jews. Bingo. There are no Zionists in the galaxy that practice Christianity. Zionist is a political ideology of a new world order. It is not a religion. Every Jew is not a Zionist. Don't get it fucked up. Every black person is not a Christian. Every Jew is not a Zionist. You have Jews for Jesus. That's something different. See, this is how complicated this shit is. You talking about Jews for Jesus. Those are people that believe in the New Testament. They are not Zionists. Zionists is a specific group among the Jews that have only a political admiration. They can care less about spiritual matters except for the black magic that they practice. The entire Hollywood was built by 4 Zionists. The Luciferian Library I showed you in Los Angeles was built by 2 Zionists. Bing the fucko. When are you going to wake the fuck up? We don't have to have all these fucking Bible debates with some dumbass YouTube niggas to understand if we don't fucking get a plan, you bitch ass niggas, you're going to be on YouTube just debating forever. Nothing's ever going to happen. On the other hand, Pit Boss about to take off on a world fucking tour. Today, bitch. After I finish this motherfucking video, I'm going to go take a shower, get in my motherfucking whip, fill it up full of gas, and pull the fuck off. And I'll see you bitch ass niggas. You can't live like me. I don't give a fuck what you niggas is doing. Why? Because you don't practice what I preach. I practice the STEM program. I practice thinking what my opponent is thinking, and then thinking what my opponent thinks I'm thinking, and then thinking what my opponent thinks I'm think that he thinking. You niggas is blinking. Bingo! Why are you even trying to fuck with me? I'm way the fuck past you. And I'm not so proud that I wouldn't tell you. I gave it to you in 1,000 videos while I banged on you bitch ass, stubborn ass niggas while I did it. Fuck you niggas. I knew you niggas was weak and bitches when I first showed up. I guess I was kind of built for this because God put me in Los Angeles, 1980s gang banging, and I had to come outside and figure out how to survive that. And so the only thing I knew was, well, I'll tell these niggas this. If you fuck with me, I'm going to come back and kill you. That was it. Stay out of nigga lane. Don't go getting involved in another nigga business. I see you over there selling dope. I ain't gonna say a thing. I'm gonna stay out your business because I can't defend myself from 1,000 motherfuckers at the same time. But you put your fucking hands on me, I'm coming back, nigga, with the black mask. It's over for you. Only way to survive was to make this nigga believe I'd do it. I never had to do it because I stayed out of niggas' business. I just kept quiet, just kept walking. But when a nigga was trying to play with me, hey, what's up? Where you from? Hey, look, homie, I'm not really with all that gangbanging shit, but I tell you this, you fuck with me, I'll be with it. Nigga was like, I believe you alone. Please do. It'd be bad. It'd be better for your health if you leave me alone. So I never threatened nobody, took nothing from nobody, steal from nobody, no, none of that. Just to survive. But it made my shell hard as a rock and my heart fearless. So after I left Los Angeles, I was like, the rest of the world ain't shit. Except Iraq or somewhere they dropping bombs and the army over there. Maybe I can't rock with that. But all this basic shit out here, I can handle these niggas. These niggas don't put no fear in me. I seen all the worst niggas growing up. And when I survived that, the rest of you niggas is buttercup cheesecake. Trust me. So when I show up to the conscious community, I realized quickly that, oh, they just doing it for views and donations and shit. They don't give a fuck about what the truth is. See, these white boys I'm playing, they put their lives into getting proper research, and some of their information ain't all the way on point, but they not playing. They got a serious agenda to try to expose a mastermind group. But it's just way too deep. I connect all of these niggas out of Harlem, all these organizations out of Harlem, splintered off, some of them from other places. A couple of our major cities all produce some type of bullshit. I connected all to the fucking Jew. They created this shit. They bad. They even flipped the Christians and created the Zionist Christian. Christians that believe the state of Israel is some biblical shit in modern times. Only thing shutting that down is the preterist view of the Bible. Everything else Zionist created. But y'all don't care. And I don't give a shit that you don't care. I really don't. I'm quite happy doing what the fuck I'm doing. But I said more shit than Alex Jones to be banned. I didn't say way more shit than Alex Jones to get banned, but I only got, what, 15 people watching or 100 views or whatever. I don't know how that shit works, but I know it ain't gonna be more than 100. So they don't give a shit. They like, nigga, we don't give a fuck if you drop pure truth. If ain't nobody listening, we don't give a shit. You got to make an impact for us to peak our nose. We can't be dealing with every little truth teller out there. We can't stop everybody from telling the truth. So if you ain't making an impact, we ain't tripping. Now, what they don't like about Alex Jones is that his channel gave rise to Trump. And they want to stop Trump. And Trump can't get no play on CNN and Fox. They control them more so than they do Alex Jones. And since it's going to be presidential season, they wanted to get Alex Jones out of here before it begins. Because even though Alex Jones don't use the word Zionism, he still put up a lot of information blocking they shit. He came with the Bilderberg group and exposed it. That's one of their little things. Now, is he perfect? No. Is he being controlled by the Jew? Absolutely. That's how bad these motherfuckers is. They control all sides, fund all wars, both sides. They don't give a shit as long as the Jews on top when it's over with. Point blank, period. That's what it is. They don't care about what you feel. But the simple fact that blacks are so fucking retarded that you can't get these concepts in your head, you can't win. Because you don't know who your enemy is. All you dumbass niggas in conscious community think Christianity is your enemy, but won't lift a motherfucking lip against Zionism. Although I can push all these facts that you shouldn't be debating with. I mean, it ain't hard to go get Ben Bernanke controls the Fed Reserve right now and find out he's a Jew. It's not fucking difficult. Just Google that, Ben Bernanke, the Federal Reserve. Then go to the Jew before him and the Jew before him and take your ass all the way back to Jekyll Island. And every motherfucking Jew that then sat over that motherfucking business, a private business at that, that print money. Ain't that a bitch? That don't even supposed to be legal. But yet they can do it. And you niggas still fighting. Still fight with it. Christianity is a fucking enemy. Fuck that. I don't give a fuck what you say. All right, you dumb fucking nibber from a shithole city in America. So why you think Pit Boss is just over here bullshitting? You don't even know what I'm doing. It's going to take you 5 years before you even fucking realize what I'm doing. That's why I'm blocking them as I go. I'm letting y'all keep along, but I'm blocking them because you don't know why. There's a reason why. But I'm waiting for the moment. I'm going to seem like a prophet to your motherfucking ass. So I need to put up a video that he the GOAT. I agree. You the GOAT of Mendez, of the conscious community. The GOAT of Mendez.